Jalen Hurts has graded well over the last 2 weeks for us. This past week against the Cincinnati Bengals, he had a 80.0 passing grade. He was 16 for 20 passing, had one big-time throw, one turnover-worthy play. Adjusted completion percentage was, almost 90% in this game. So he was threading the needle. Ball was not hitting the ground very much. But you said at the top of the show, you were going to be a hater. People weren't going to like what you had to say about Jalen Hurts. We have been critics of Justin Hurts. Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts in the same show is actually my worst nightmare, as we are seeing here. What do you think about Jalen Hurts? We've been harsh on him earlier in the year. He's had a couple of good games grade-wise. Eagles played a little bit better, but you seem to be a skeptic still. Thoughts on Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I don't see a very different quarterback than the quarterback we've been talking about for the past 3 seasons, to be honest. He's been accurate the last few weeks. I'll say the same caveat that I did talking about Justin Herbert. Defensives hasn't been Giants and Bengals defense, especially the pass defense. They haven't been very good. I don't see a very different quarterback. There's 2 things that I've seen here. He hasn't put the ball in harm's way, which is great. No problem. Like, I'm not trying to say that's not insignificant, because he had early in the season. Made some boneheaded plays.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing in particular that I've noticed the past couple of weeks is that when he scrambles, we've talked about this, he is notorious for scrambling out of the back of the pocket, and especially to his throwing side, to his right side. And the numbers are bad when he does that. He's just not a good quarterback when he cuts down that side of the field. He's not Josh Allen like that. And then he doesn't have that kind of quickness to outrun a player laterally and then get up the field. And you see that not only when he scrambles outside of the pocket in that way, but also running zone reads. In the run game, which he's just not very good at. But what I've seen recently is a guy who has stepped up and scrambled more through the pocket. And that's where he's at his best. Because when he gets a head of steam going, then he's tough to bring down. Then he's got a little bit of deceptive speed in that way. And when he does that, and when he's done it throughout his career, he's tough. His stats are very good in those areas, and you're seeing a slight uptick in that way. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with when you go from Lane Johnson at left tackle to Lane Johnson to Fred Johnson. Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
At left tackle, like the new left tackle is allowing pressure around the corner so he can step up inside of that pressure, and it's been good. Like those plays have been good. Now, in the passing game, what am I supposed to take from this other than you have A.J. Brown on the field and the other team does not? The other defense can't cover A.J. Brown. Like, I don't know what else. Every throw is a sideline throw to A.J. Brown, and then there's a jump ball to the best wide receiver 2 or whatever in the league in Devontae Smith. Like, I'm not really sure what else there is to talk about other than those plays in this Philly offense where A.J. Brown just gets open on the sideline every damn time. He is impossible to cover a top 5 receiver easily in the league. So that's kind of where I am with them. It's good. It's what it needs to be, considering this is how it was when they went to the Super Bowl. So that's great for the offense in general, but I don't think Jalen Hurts is that much different. You messed up. You call him Justin Hurts. I just gave him a soft J and call him Halen Hurts. So we're on the same page there.
When I rewatched this game, there were a couple areas where he had some nice completions over the middle, but even then, like, he hesitated a little bit. There was like that hesitation, and I think I'm watching it, and throws over the middle. They're all about timing. So maybe I was saying, like, okay, well, I could give him the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe he's just kind of pump faking the defender, waiting for the wide receiver to come open, because he eventually did. But I also felt like it was it could have been a little bit of a timing issue there for him. I do still think that this offense is too reliant on A.J. Brown, if that is a thing. But you look at the Bengals on the other side, right? They're down T. Higgins. The offense looks completely different. You look at the Seattle Seahawks. They did not have DK Metcalf in this past game against the Buffalo Bills. Basically didn't look competitive. Like, without DK Metcalf out there to be able to throw the ball to, jump ball wise, they didn't really have it. When A.J. Brown has missed time this year, the Eagles offense really has not been what it has needed to be. And, you know, I think that we look at the Eagles, and me personally, over the last couple of weeks, I have wanted the offense to look more balanced. I have wanted it to look different. But at the end of the day, I can't sit here and ask for this team to be something that they're just not. And at this point in time, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are simply going to be a run the ball with Jalen Hurts and with Saquon Barkley type of a team, and they're a shot play team with the best shot play wide receiver in the NFL in A.J. Brown, and then obviously you've got Devontae Smith like we saw this past weekend. That just kind of is what it is. It's not going to be this like balanced, methodical, okay, now we're hitting short passes to the outside, you know, now we're hitting things over the intermediate middle like all the time. Like, it's not going to be this layered progression passing game. It's going to be run the ball and shot plays. That is what their offensive identity is. And so earlier in the season, I was asking for it to be a little bit more diverse, a little bit more, how do I say this? A little more margin for error, I would think, than just, either we completed a deep, because right now it feels like, here's the Philadelphia Eagles. Did A.J. Brown get 2 passes of 25 yards or more in this game? Because if he didn't, they probably didn't win. And if they did, there's a good chance that they did, because the rest of the offense was going well for them. And I don't like when offenses are that reliant, but it is also hard to not lean into that when you do have a receiver like A.J. Brown. So I think it has been certainly better with A.J. Brown coming back. And, you know, the more I thought about it, the more I was just like, am I asking the Eagles to be something that they're never going to be? And if that's the case, I've got to reevaluate how I look at the Eagles. And as of right now, the way the team is constructed, Seth, I don't know if the team's going to be any different than what it is right now. So it's kind of like, are they the best version even of this run the ball and shot play offense? I think that they're playing it well, obviously, as evidenced over the last couple of weeks. But that's my thoughts overall on the Eagles.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement. They might end up being the best, because you have Saquon Barkley. That's the best runner they've had in this version of the offense. And clearly he's a really good player. And that's fine. Like, again, like, that's fine if that's what you want to be. But I think we're at the point where we can kind of just say, like, hey, Jalen Hurts is not going to be a quarterback that can overcome things that aren't great contextually. There's a fragility to his game where we just talked about Justin Herbert. There is no fragility to Justin Herbert's game. Whether it's O-line play, whether it's receiver play, whether it's under pressure, it doesn't matter. There's no fragility. It's always going to be at a top level. And there's fragility to Jalen Hurts' game. Like, when there's pressure, though they have been under pressure a lot this season, something we thought was going to be a problem after you lose Jason Kelce, and now you've had a left tackle injury. So that's been an issue. Like, they're under pressure a lot more. Like I said, he's managed it better the last couple of weeks, but if he is going to be under pressure 3 more times a game, usually those plays are not good for Jalen Hurts. And, like, those are third down plays that you're off the field 3 more times a game. Like, that's a lot in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, like that's my concern. I pulled up some stats here as you were talking about A.J. Brown. So I can't actually give you like like when A.J. Brown is on the field versus when he's off the field, but I can tell you what this Philly offense is right now, in terms of their efficiency, is in terms of their expected points added per play. This whole season, it's 0.072, which is pretty good. But on the plays where A.J. Brown is on the field, 0.318, which is like elite.
Wow.
Like above, way above anything, right? Like, your reaction, you know how EPA works.
Yeah.
Your reaction there is nuts. Incredible. Like, That's nuts, right? Like that's how good AJ Brown is. And then when you have him and Devonta Smith on the field and Goddard, another player that I feel like didn't play recently. Am I crazy about that?
No, Calcaterra's in there. They're getting
exactly. Calcaterra caught that ball over the middle of the field.
Yeah.
So like when you have all those players in, like, this offense is going to continue to roll. And I think Hurts is a passenger to a certain degree, but that's not saying anything bad about this whole offense, which is great to watch.
I think that is a good way to put it. We often think that quarterbacks have to be the driver of whatever is going on. And for the Eagles, the driver is A.J. Brown, and then the backup driver is Saquon Barkley. And then I think that Jalen Hurts is more of somebody who's a passenger, which is okay. I think that people, when they think about quarterbacks that are like that, they get really freaked out. But that's just sort of the way that the Eagles offense is constructed. And we often talk about like, okay, well, what if this guy wasn't there? Well, here's the thing. If he's in there, it doesn't matter. So as long as A.J. Brown doesn't miss any more time throughout the rest of the season, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to stay a force and a team that could potentially win their division again, make the playoffs. And even though it might not be Hurts as the conductor, as the engine even, I think that his role in this certainly has Philly's offense playing very well.